We turn now to part 3 of an interview with a vampire. This is more in real time and is unfolding. Jason of Archaics has very recently put up a community post saying that the word destiny is a verb. That is absolutely true. The etymology of that word, you've got the word in, and you've got the word, and you've got the letter or the word Y. It's a clue to fulfill destiny. It's showing you where to go with the in, which will reveal the why. Something that, at a conscious level, many puzzle over. Why are we here? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And so on and so on. Okay. So this son of this third incarnation of Lady Grey would begin to uncover things, and the magic and the weaving and what you would associate, or most people would associate with the whole idea of reptilian and being cold-hearted and the rest of it. What happens when there's a hybridization and there's a interjection of human, where it ends up as 75% human, 25% draconian? The balance would then shift, so what could be seen as heartless? How can we liken this? Think of it, the game has got huge stakes to it, and it's the long term of the game. It's a bit like the business world. You'd speculate $1 million and you'd be prepared to waste $1 million if you know that you're going to get a return of, say, 3 million. So that's an investment. And again, you've got the in that, and meant with mind. Invest, obviously, something you wear. I would suggest aura would come into that. So my guest is something of a chameleon, a shapeshifter. Probably wouldn't even be picked up as such on camera, but if you go across and listen to some of the videos that True Love channel has done, Yolanda has said about, and from her own personal testimony, about how the radio and the television can be interactive and talk to you. That is my guest, or similar, who are, shall we say, inhabiting and working through host bodies, a sort of a temporary occupation, and it's played out in real time in that moment. If you were to play that film back again, it wouldn't work in the same way. It's all in the beauty of the timing in the moment. So, armed with this knowledge that is held within, that is gradually sort of opening up, this being could start doing a bit of card magic, shall we say. Let's call it card magic. So think of pontoon. Pontoon refers also to a bridge, so it's crossing something. And of course, you're competing against the banker. And it's whatever hand is dealt by the banker to the banker, who is also the dealer. he may declare 18 or 19 or 20 or and then say pay 21s. So in this particular card game that was played out, it was a bit like Pontoon. A lot stuck on 19 and more went for 20. A lot were lucky enough to be dealt a hand that they got 21 because it's paid 21s. And of course, with Pontoon, there's such a thing that out trumps or outranks that, which is 5 cards. Oh yeah. So my guest would perhaps identify as something like this. It's a pretty good hand, actually. It's 4 kings there, and it's also this character here, which, if you look at values of cards, the Joker outranks all the other cards, even the combined 4 kings. But it's a hidden in plain sight reference because it is a divine comedy. And as such, that's why there is always a Joker in the pack that is playing the game and having a bit of fun with it as well. That character, armed with the knowledge and also being able to take a leaf out of the book of the script, shall we say, could do very much the same things and be able to play things out in a way that what is encoded in something is a bit like, shall we say, the black spots in the story with pilots. When somebody's going to be murdered, they're given the black spot. So taking a leaf out of this reality, this being may start printing his own money, his own currency, and he may what is the value to this paper money, this fiat currency? What's it backed with? So this character may do sort of his own banknotes and things. It says on here, Bank of Source promise to pay the light bearer, and in this case it's 2 billion souls. So maybe this character would have played out something that is also reflected in the material world. I don't know how many people are aware of this. As I understand it legally, if you're served papers, if you so much as take them in your hand and you've put a thumbprint, that would count like a signature. So imagine if a karmic debt was being paid, as it were, in advance. And just for argument's sake, my guest went into a church and folded up this and put it in the little the anonymous donation box. And obviously somebody's going to empty that donation box at some time, and the action, which is the destiny, they've taken that piece of paper and opened it up, and it says, I promise to pay the light bearer 6 billion souls. And of course that would have been beautifully timed before 2020, because things that are played out in the spiritual may take a little while to actually become manifest in the physical. If you think of destiny in terms of ships, you have a destination. Now you may go, say for example, straight from Southampton to New York. You may plot a course that is going to take you to other places on the way. You would dock at a quay, and then something on that key would become manifest. There is no accident to these words. What you can also bring into this, if you have someone who is very fanatical about a particular belief system, for example, and also had the mindset to take something like the Bible and to believe it with blind faith and not question anything and follow it. So imagine finding one of these banknotes. You see, it's just like the real things. There's nothing on the other side. It's not backed with anything. It might appear to be blank white, but to some degree you could say it's the actual opposite. It's the epitome of black. Imagine if whoever emptied that collection box in that church was to be so shocked and alarmed to actually show another, and maybe, I don't know, I'm just a messenger, so I don't know what the ramifications of it were, but I would say it possibly has an effect that may have affected a timeline purely because of the intent and something encoded in these things. So what value would they have? Would you accept one? Because they're all in billions. No. He says he's quite prepared to raise the stakes. It's a bit like, what's that card game where you're calling people's bluff and you put money in and then you say, I'll see you, or I'll raise you another 10 or whatever. It's that sort of thing. And I feel that you'll see how that is currently being played out and will continue to be played out. So consider, in a realm of duality, when we have the word vampire, for example, notice it has pyre, which references fire. Now, if we break the first three parts of that down, you've got the V, so it's pulling down. It's in this case, it's a sun going so low in the game and going so low in the game, rejecting the material world, because that being could have had and did have that lifestyle for the first 9 days and had a taster of it, which was enough. And because there is this 75% human aspect to it, it's playing a different simulation. It's running out things on a different timeline with a different outcome. It's breaking a pattern. You could call it an update to an app. Yes, so it's... Sorry, I was distracted there. He wanted to tell me something else to say. So the V, it's the sun descending, so it's getting to the root. The am, so it's the V is also an I. It's like a split I, but it's come back together. So it's I am fire. Is another thing that is being expressed from that, and because it's a flipped polarity, it's not taking what is basically the Holy Communion in Christianity, the eating of partaking of eating of the flesh and drinking of the blood. Why nobody questions what is so obvious with that whole ritual is beyond me. But now imagine how, with a flipped polarity, that you have a being that the system has nothing it can tempt it with, does not want to partake in that, but the vampirism is to start siphoning and streaming away the misappropriated wealth and causing quite a panic at an energetic level, which of course, like everything else, the pattern is that it starts in the unseen and it becomes into the material, into the physical, in the play out of it, because it all happens on the world stage. So the ramifications of this unfolding story are such that the best is yet to come. You've already got the time scale of it, so you've got till 2040, you've got roughly 16 years to sort things out. And certainly there are some valuable things in all this. The saying about a weakness becomes a strength. So what if that cold heartlessness was then transmuted into the complete opposite, that every action that it was doing was out of love rather than for a self-serving purpose? What my guest has done and is still doing, and wow, my ears are ringing, the frequency thing is something else. Let's just say it's going to be very interesting. Is what I've been asked to say, and know that it is just a game, and what this is actually about is nothing to do with this reality. It is nothing to do with this earth. But think of it in terms of like an amusement arcade. You may have a bank of fruit machines, you may have, I don't know, pinball machines, various other games, all seemingly disconnected, but always check your sources. They have one thing in common: they are all drawing power from the same power source, i.e. the electricity. Those cables all converge somewhere. So what my guest is doing is basically a draconian absolution, shall we say, a saviour in that reality. But things are played out on this world stage, and just like those bank of fruit machines and various other amusement arcade games, the wires and the power source and everything all comes down to one. So there is a play out in this reality, but it's nothing to do with humanity, that part of it. But there is a part that does come into play in this reality and is currently unfolding. So I hope that has made some sort of sense. Maybe things in there and across these 3 videos have resonated in some way, or given you some sort of that now makes sense. What I would take from it is what my guest is saying is you do have equal power. you do have all the answers inside yourself. It is finding that key to unlocking it inside yourself. That is all it takes. And that recognition of everything external to you is actually a reflection that is like a, a trail of clues for you to find yourself. That is what this game is all about. For all its myriad of craziness and strangeness, it's multiple simulations, it's holographic. This is why things are the way they are, why things appear the way they are, and simultaneously to some don't appear that way, or some will only see some things. It's purely down to frequency with any of this. This is me talking now. I've tried to do what I can to help, and that's, if you check the description, if you're struggling, then come and talk to me, because this is phenomenal. It's like, I don't know what to say to all of this. I'm speechless with all of this. I'll explain on a separate video from a personal testimony of doing this, because I don't find this easy when I have another presence here. It almost, no offense, it almost interferes with, don't seem to get in the flow in the same way, in quite the same way as I could normally on a video. But it's to do with energies, it's to do with frequencies, and if that's all right with you, yeah, I will. I can talk about my personal feelings and of the making these three videos. It's like, wow, yeah, that's it for this series at the moment. But bear in mind that's 3 parts, and 4 is a door. The 4, yeah, the 4 is a door. It's a way out. How that is shown to you, I don't know. It is going to depend on your individual circumstances. You may not all see it in the same way, but you certainly will be able to experience it in a way that's tailored to your wholeness, is the best way. So that's your spirit, your soul, your life body, and your physical body. Your unique set of circumstances, it will come through to where the soil is fertile for those, where those seeds have grown in the garden, the Eden inside yourself. It's all inside. Anything on the outside is also on the inside. So you have an atomic bomb, you have a Phoenix event, you have a Nemesis X, you have a dark satellite. You've got the lot. And any other event, any character, it is all going on inside. It is all unfolding. It just depends what page you're on and where you are in the story. And that is all this is. It is just a story. But anything that's mythology, that is the science of yesterday, and with the overlaying of things, how they sort of get a little bit lost in the mists of time, a bit like your earliest human memories normally would be the case for that sort of thing as well. But it is possible, or at least some of you, to access it. But for the rest of you, there'll be other ways that are there to guide you. It's down to you to be able to recognize it. It is cognition, after all. It's often spoken about cognitive dissonance, well, its opposite is the cognition or the recognition when you remember, when you remind yourself, as it were. So if you are struggling, then do please come and talk to me. It's what I'm here for. I am, in this case though, just the messenger. So we'll say love to you all, and may you have been able to get something out of this. That's why it was being imparted. It could not have been imparted before. It's all to do with the now moment. The now moment is when you happen to be watching it, of course, because it is all holographic.